So let's take a tour of the clipping section of the point cloud ribbon. You've got some very useful tools for chopping and slicing and dicing your point cloud data built into the program. You've got clips, slices, sections, and the clipping manager. I'll give you a quick tour of how you can use those. So I've got a large scan showing a skating rink here, and you can see, as is typical of many scan data sets, you've got a lot of information out here that's created just from the scanner spilling over the top of the boards, and really we only need to work in here. So a clip is very handy for just cutting it down. So if we look at the clip options here, you can define a clip by rectangle, by circle, or by polygon. And then down below you've got the inside options, and these are essentially the inverse of these options up here. So just as an example, let me define a polygon to contain just our arena. So this is useful when you've got an odd shape that you want to just cut out. And when you're all finished, you hit enter to apply it. There we go. So now we've got it narrowed down to just the working area in the scan data set. Slices are also very handy, and what slices will allow you to do is what you have to do is look at your UCS icon and make a decision about which axis you're taking slices out of. And what these will do is just define kind of an upper and a lower limit, or possibly a leftmost and a rightmost limit to hide all of the point cloud data outside of that. So let me do a little example here. I'll switch my view of this arena so that I'm looking at just the baseboards from the outside, and you'll notice how the UCS icon shows that the up-down dimension in the baseboard is the y-axis, and so that allows me to make the decision to do a y-axis slice. And so I'll go in here and I'll just take a small sample from the baseboard, about a foot apart by the looks of things, and so that's just chopped it out. If I go back into top-down view, then we can see sort of we get a look at sort of a cross-section of that part of the scan data. Something else that is handy to know about, if I go back to this side view, is if you're in a situation where you want to use the slice in a series of different increments through space, there's this additional function right here, slice forward. So watch what happens as I pick that. My slice is going to slide forward the roughly 1 foot dimension that I had before, and then it reloads itself. So I can actually move that forward. Eventually we'll see that I'll actually go above the top of the board and we won't see anything at all. There's the top edge, and there it's almost gone. Now, let's start by looking at the clipping manager now. So I'm going to open this up, and so you notice how we've now got both a slice and a clip, and I'll just disable this slice by unchecking that option. And when I close that, we'll find that we've got the full baseboard back. And okay, so we've looked at slices, we looked at clips, and now I'm going to show you one other simpler option. It's called a section. And so a section is kind of like half of a slice. So I think what I'll do here is I'll use this button, the reset clipping, and so this will actually disable all of the clips and slices that we've defined up until now. And let me make a new clip. Just make it a rectangle, because I want to include the crane that's right beside the arena. Okay. So let's say that we'd like to prevent the scan data from showing anything above the top of the skating rink, and so that'll have the effect of hiding this crane. Another good example where you'd use a tool like this might be that you have a scan of a roadway with lots of moving cars, and if you can do a section right close to the top of the crown of the road, then it'll have the effect of hiding most of the sort of noise that you get from the moving cars. So what I want to do is do a section in the y-axis, and if we take a look at our options, what I'm doing here is a section back. I'm going to pick the lowest limit for the section. That allows me to go in here and I'll pick a point just above where the arena fence is, and there you go. Now we've chopped out that crane. And if I look at the top, now we can see the whole thing. So that would make it easier if, for example, you wanted to generate some terrain, and now you don't have to worry about nearly as much noise above the surface that you want to work with. So, and finally, let's just review the last three tools here. So we've got reset clipping. That has the effect of clearing all the clippings that are visible in the clipping manager here. When I look at the clipping manager, it's got a memory of all of the previously set clips and slices, and I can actually delete each one of those to tidy things up. When you've got a slice, you can modify its thickness as well. But in this case, I'll just delete it. Something else that you can do in the clipping manager is you can inverse your clips. So for example, let's just check on an inverse here on the first slice that we made. And now that I've checked on the inverse and I've got the enable checkbox on, that's hiding, that's effectively reversed the clip that I had before, because now it's showing me everything outside of the arena rather than inside. And there's much more that you can do with the clipping manager. Advanced users swear by this tool and get to know it more as you're doing more point cloud work. One other option that I haven't touched on here is there's a clipping scheme option here. Up until now I've been using advanced clipping, which allows me to have multiple clips and slices and so forth. But if you want to simplify things, clipping scheme just limits you to having only a single limit box and a single slice. There, I hope you're going to find that useful. It's remarkable how you can combine these different tools to be able to subdivide your data into something that will be useful.